Good morning, I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the August 27, 2017 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Many of you know that I'm actually at the HR Florida Conference as the entertainment chair for the next 5 days, but I had to run home to Lakeland to teach my Sunday school class because the normal substitute teachers weren't available. So I ran in, and I was glad I did because we have been in my Sunday school class and in the whole church actually, the Sunday school curriculum for the past 3 months has been the Book of Psalms. Hence why we were also doing a series on Psalms here on the Bible Delight in the Details. And today was the last day, and I am going to return to the Psalms for today's program. The last Psalm we were looking at is Psalm 42. This is the Psalm that has the very famous opening line, "As the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longeth after thee." And we were talking about that in the desert land of Israel and the Middle East, at the time that David and others who wrote the Psalms were writing, deer was very plentiful. And deer was a favored animal to be hunted. So the people would have understood exactly this metaphor. When the deer, it runs, when it's being hunted, not only is it exerting itself physically in the run, but also it's in a state of panic. And so he is panting and he wants the water, but not just any water. In the Hebrew, the actual word is a brook or a flowing water, also known as living water. And to us Christians, we should think, oh, ringy-dingy, there should be a connection. Jesus Christ called himself the living water. Indeed, living water is actually a terminology. It's a term of art. Living water actually means water that is fresh and flowing as opposed to stagnant water. It is obviously the safe kind of water. It's the most refreshing. And in the baptismal program of the Bible, that is the only kind of water that should be used, is that flowing, literally living water, just like Christ claims to be. So why do we get baptized in living water? Because we are being baptized into the likeness of he who is the ultimate living water. The curriculum that I was reading from and teaching from was called this longing. And in my Sunday school class, we were discussing that, longing is a very passionate desire for something, which often takes on not just inward manifestations, but outward as well. You think about someone pining for someone, and you can tell that in their demeanor. And it's because they just can't hide it. They feel it so very passionately. One thing I want to leave you with that's so important when you read this psalm is it becomes very clear that whoever wrote this psalm was someone who was in an official role of worship, someone who was not being a hypocrite, someone who was very passionate about it, who loved to worship God, who was a true believer, who was not afraid of being seen at the forefront of public worship. So we're talking about someone who is a real leader. For whatever reason, this individual was not able to worship in the way that he wanted to at the moment. Could it be that he was a Levite priest who for some reason might have been being disciplined and was being asked to step down from his ministry for a period of time? Could it be that it was just physical distance, that he could not travel to Jerusalem to the temple? Was it some kind of life circumstances, health? We don't know, but something was keeping him from doing what he normally does, which is being very enthusiastically, proactively at the front and center, you might say, of the worship of God in Jerusalem at the temple. And he feels that failure to be there very keenly. And he asked God repeatedly, why am I having to have this distance? This distance is being made particularly difficult because people around him are making light of it and questioning why he even wants to go. I want to remind you of something. When we are in the valleys of our lives, it is very easy to question God. Even those of us who are true believers Absolutely. And rock solid, and who teach and preach this to others, and have never failed to, and have never hesitated or been in any way put off by doing it. Even we can become bewildered at why God is doing the things that he's doing and how he's doing. And this psalm makes no light matter of that, acknowledges the emotions, acknowledges that even when you try to remind yourself and you almost talk to yourself, remember what God's done for you in the past and all, still those emotions can be very, very powerful in a negative way. But the answer is always the same. Whenever you're happy, sad, bewildered, frustrated, angry, whatever it is, the answer is always the same. Go to God. And I want to remind you of this. Whenever you are in a valley, remember something. We have a tendency to think when we're in the valley that we will always be there. We look back at our mountaintop experiences of the past and we say, oh, if only I could go back to that moment. That was my era. That was the glory days. As if they will never come again. But always remember something. What makes a valley a valley? It's the space between two mountains. There will be another mountaintop experience for you. Have no fear. Do not doubt that. Acknowledge the emotions that you feel during the valley, but keep going. The mountaintop is coming. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. I hope you have a marvelous Sunday and a great week. Visit me again on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Bye-bye.